Hi, welcome back to the Jack and Glenn channel. I'm Jackie.
And I'm her husband, Glenn.
He's my husband, Glenn.
Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews. Make sure you join our membership for some new and updating things coming from Jack and Glenn. You can hit that button. You can hit that button right now. It should be on your screen. So hit that button as well. But today we're reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode 13, The Ugly Truth. And it did get ugly on this episode, right? It got ugly with some couples on this episode, but it's the ugly truth. They met with the experts, Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper, along with the special expert, Devon Franklin, from this episode. More about him a little bit later as we get into this review. So who do you want to start with today?
That's we can go ahead and let's do Miguel and Lindy.
Let's do Miguel and Lindy.
Lot with them.
The first thing they got rid of McGindy today. They gave McGindy up for adoption.
Which, I'm going to jump ahead, which later, with the couples, they were like, the baby hadn't identified itself. They don't know if it was a boy or a girl. The baby's name was McGindy Heather Elaway Santiago. But he had
a little wiener, which runs
a boy baby doll. I mean,
what has a little wiener that runs into Santiago family, according to Miguel.
He didn't say it runs in the family.
He said
basically it's on par.
It's on par.
He didn't say it ran in the family.
On par with the Santiago family, and they laughed about that. It's what it is.
It's a baby doll.
It
was a boy baby doll. Period. Point blank.
They was playing. It was role playing.
But anyway, they gave him back. Lindy admitted that Miguel had been doing the brunt of the parenting.
Yeah.
Which later when they talked to Pastor Cal is what happened. The baby was waking up every 2 hours in the middle of the night, like 1 o'clock in the morning, and Lindy's trying to sleep. With the baby waking up, she got real frustrated and stressed, and basically Miguel had to take over.
Which we said that her motherly instincts are not there, because when they first came and met with Pastor Cal, he's like, "Oh, you got a glow on your face. You're pregnant." And she's like,
No, he said, "I know you're not pregnant."
I know you're not pregnant. And she's like, That baby is like a baby was like a deterrent. Like what you want to do with teenagers when you give it to them in school. But she was like, "No, we're not. That baby stressed me out."
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was a mess. But we see them go axe throwing before they meet with the experts, who is Pastor Cal. And Miguel just sucked. He sucked, and Lindy was killing it. I think Miguel should be afraid. Be very afraid. Because she hit all the rings. She hit the bullseye. And she hit the blue one. Up at the top first
right
time.
Yeah. She's a professional axe thrower. I mean, which they probably did that when she was growing up.
I don't know. All of his bounced off the thing. He didn't hit not one that we saw.
Woman's touch. She's a good axe thrower. She liked throwing things. You better watch for knives. Hide the knives, because she hit you in the back. Hide the knives.
But he lost, and she was like, I'm happy you're not a sore loser. They talked about how they've been getting closer every day, but they still don't know each other completely. There's a fear that something could happen that will ruin him, and he says, yeah, I'm a romantic and everything, but basically, like, I can't promise you forever. At this point, I don't know, because something may come up, I can't say. And she was like, well, I don't want to be, the question was, he asked, can you be in a loveless marriage? And her response was, yeah, because I feel like, we can work it out. We can get back to the point of loving each other. And he was like, yeah, no. If you say that you're loveless, yeah, no. That's a no for me. And she expressed how this conversation made her anxious. And, she hears it she receives it as a threat that, he'll leave if he's not happy. Like, he doesn't have the will to work through it.
Yeah, but what he said was, I'll be willing to work through it, but after we try to work through it and it doesn't get fixed, then I'm leaving. He was like, not that he can be bounced because he doesn't feel like he's loved. He said he'll give it an opportunity and give it a chance, I don't think she heard that part when he was like, "I give it an opportunity, I give it a chance," but he just didn't say he was going to just leave. You know, it just.
But it was what she heard, what she received it as. Like, I hear what you're saying, but it sounds like you're gonna be like, nah.
Yeah, I mean, he said he was a runner, so. But I think in this instance, he would give her the benefit of the doubt, and he would try to work on it. In just my opinion.
Miguel goes out with Lindy's friend, Stephanie, and they talked about how she gets hangry easily. He said, I've seen that a little bit.
Give her a Snickers bar.
Maybe not the extent that it could be. You know, that he told the friend that, you know, I tell her that, you know, we're in love. You know, I say that to her. You know, she's easy to be around, and her friend agreed. Yes, most of the time she is, again, except when she gets hangry, you know, stressed out or whatever. And Miguel's like, you know, everything seemed to be like sunshines and rainbows until the little baby project. She got worked up and stressed out because it was something to do. The baby was crying or whatever. And he didn't like the fact that she goes to the negative side. And Stephanie acknowledged that, yes, she does do that. You know, there's sometimes she takes things personally and she can get negative. And so he shares about and reflects on their conversation about decision day, the insurance conversation, and, you know, how she got all amped up and stuff. And he was like, I just want her to work through those things that trigger her, the triggers, and not get so negative. That's concerning to him because he says, I don't want to feel like I'm being censored because I don't want her to
go off,
go negative and go off. And he said, I'm not sure if it's a full deal breaker, but yeah.
I mean, nobody wants to be with somebody who goes off on her constantly all the time, and we saw that with Hurricane K and Zach, right? You know, she was really going off, and nobody wants to deal with that. I understand that. I mean, but it has to be a balance. I mean, everything's not going to always be peaches and cream in your relationship, neither. You're going to have some moments where you get at each other. But I think it's much more than her going off. I think that it's a negative energy that he does not like, the negative talking that he doesn't like, the negative things she says. I think, you know, he just wants a good aura around him.
And that's what they talked about when he met with Pastor Cal. Again, she talked about how the baby experiment kind of like did her in. It was a lot more than she expected. She couldn't handle it. Miguel said he's still trying to get adjusted to her pattern, and it is affecting him. And she needs to put in the work to figure out, again, how to deal with her triggers and not go to the mostly negative side. And Pastor Cal asked, has he seen the worst in you? And she was like, no. On a scale of 1 to 10, he's probably seen a 4.5. Mm-hmm. She told Pastor Cal, when he asked, when have you ever been at a 10? She was like, maybe twice in my life. And Pastor Cal basically was like, you're anticipating the super worst, but she hasn't even shown you that. And that's not even her norm. So this 4.5 is probably her norm. Mm-hmm. But this is what I said. If she's only seen herself at a 10 twice, but she keeps talking about, I can go crazy, I'll lose it. But maybe Pastor Cal, that wasn't a good question. I'm thinking that level she's talking about is really an 8.
Right.
And she probably can get to an 8. She just don't get to a 10. That's what I think. I think she don't get full-blown Lulu Lindy. But she can get real close. And she's probably been real close more than she's been all the way over the edge. But that's a better question.
But I think when people do that and talk about that, I mean, you bring that on yourself. Because you're supposed to control your emotion. That's, to me, we call that emotionally unstable, right? When you take it that way and you know you have that issue, I can get to a 10. Well, you know, or I can get to here. You don't want to see me when I'm angry. It's like Bruce Banner in Incredible Hulk, right? Or, you know, for those who watching Netflix, She-Hulk, right? But you calm yourself down. You have a moment where you say, you know what? I can't get here. It's not that bad. Let me bring myself. Oh, this situation is not that important. And, you know, with her, she likes to use the F word. So she likes to use foul language. And so she gets there and she works herself up and it's not that serious. And so she wants somebody who's able to be in a shelter and try to calm themselves down. It doesn't work that way all the time. Because eventually you keep hulking up and all this, you're going to blow that shelter away or turn that person off that you're with. And she doesn't want to turn Miguel off because I really think she likes Miguel and that she's trying to keep bracing him for this Don't keep bracing me for a storm, knowing that you can control the storm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so Pastor Cal's thing for them was, you know, if this is her norm, can you live with her norm? And so that's where Miguel is. I don't know if I can.
But I mean, her norm is a 4.5. It ain't the 8. You know what I'm saying? So he can live with the 4.
But her norm is, I can get to the 8.
But then I think the question they should be asking is, what gets you to the 8? Right? What gets you to this point where you have to be an 8? I mean, that's the question I want Pastor Cal to ask. Like, what gets you there? Okay, if you've been there, so you've been to a 10 twice in your life, what got you to a 10? Mm-hmm. So he can have some kind of measurement. Okay, don't do this and this, and she shouldn't get to an 8. If you know you get there, give me some heads up or let me know as a husband. Give me some insight so I can make sure to help you, protect you, and cover you so we don't get there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that was really it with Miguel and Lindy. So let's go to the easy one, which was hard, but it's easy because we're done with them. Done with them. Morgan and Binh.
Yeah, buddy.
It opens
it's
up
over
with
now.
It opens with Morgan talking about, I'm just tired of being sad, and I'm gonna meet with Dr. Pepper. I'm tired of being sad. Sad for what?
She's making herself sad. Again.
Because you're really not sad. You're mad. You're sad it didn't work out because you got mad. And you don't have. And here's another one. You don't know how to turn your mad off.
No, do not.
Because you do Muay Thai.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so they met with Dr. Pepper. Binh said, you know, he's nervous for the meeting. He did express that. Basically, what he said was, I don't really want to come off like a failure. My parents are very religious, and you know, they're all for marriage, and my mom will probably be a little more like, oh, you know, it didn't work out. My dad will be like, oh, basically like, you messed up again. Mm-hmm. You know. And so he was like, so they won't be happy if it doesn't work out. He won't be happy.
But you said it too, I think on the last review, it's a cultural thing. And he said it again more so it's a cultural thing. Everybody in his family are doctors. He did something different. Everybody else in his family probably had traditional marriages. He went on Married at First Sight. So they're looking at him like you're the black sheep of the family, or that you're a failure because what you're trying to do is not what we have accustomed. It's not the cookie mold that we want you to do, or not what we have told you to do. And if you'd have did what we told you to do, you'd have been okay. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's where his failure and his insecurities are coming in at, because he's looking at what are other people thinking. Well, go back to his people pleaser situation. I didn't please my parents. And tell them you had a crazy wife.
Which irks me bad. Nobody. The only person that I really saw call a spade, was 2 people. Is Keisha Knight Pulliam?
She ain't on the show.
Not. And the other person not on the show. What was the lady's name that was on After Party
Sarah
last
Parker,
night?
I think.
The only 2. Oh, correction. And Nate.
Yeah, Nate's the only one.
Because they was like, tell him why you mad, son. Tell him why you mad. And the 3 of them were like, she seems too mad, too angry over what we've seen. They were like, did something happen behind the scenes? I dare say no. Because even in the midst of them meeting with Dr. Pepper, in her vignette, I've been waiting to do this. She holds her phone up. I Googled it. You can see right here, I got my license. I said, you still mad about the license? His friend said, if we asked him now, would he say that you're a nurse? Yes. Why are you still mad? You still mad about that? That cannot be.
Somebody has to ask her
be.
If this situation, 2 questions I need to ask her. What else did Binh say that made you not trust him? Or do?
What did you hear him say? Not from hearsay.
Or did the nurse thing really turn you off that bad that you could not hear anything else he said? And that might be the same question. But anyway, like, it can't be just that. I'm sorry. It has to be much more than that. Because I'm sure this is not the first time somebody that she didn't trust. You know what I'm saying? Lost trust in somebody. It can't be. Unless she cuts everybody off. Unless when you show her who you are, she just cuts you off straight away. Because she's very unforgiving. Mm-hmm. And people are unforgiving may need forgiveness one day.
Dr. Pepper asks, what in a relationship brings out the best in you? And Morgan was like, you know, I can show the softer side of myself with the right person, a person she can trust, and because I don't show that side to everyone, and it takes me trusting you to show you that softer side. That's not how it works in Married at First Sight. It don't work like that. You have to develop trust, but you should come in there as, you know, like a blank slate. You know what I'm saying? Show that person your softer side. You don't come in there with your brick wall up. Maybe put the straw wall up where the little pig can, you know, the wolf can blow it down.
Yeah, I mean, she came in there with walls up, and she came in
guns ablazing.
This is an accelerated process.
Yeah. And
so you have to trust, and you got to realize, and you got to be compassionate with your spouse because they may not be in the same situation that you've been. You know, Pastor Cal asked Stacia the question, you don't want to marry you, right? I think Morgan wanted to marry her, and Binh wasn't her. Binh needed some reassurance. Binh needed confidence. He wanted to make sure everything was 100% right, and he wasn't getting the reactions and stuff that he needed from her when he would do the things that he needed. He wouldn't get the affection. He wouldn't get the thank yous. He wouldn't get the love, and it made him feel some type of way. It made him go back. It made him trigger back to his dad as if, dang, what else do I have to do to please you? And I don't think she fully understood that. I don't think she ever looked at his side of the situation like, I apologize profusely. I apologize to everybody. When are you going to let me, when are you going to say, okay, I forgive you, right? You want him to apologize to everybody, but when are you going to say, I forgive you, Binh, let's move on?
Not. Dr. Pepper says to Binh, you know, you kind of been in a panic since, you know, from the front of the marriage. She was like, well, actually in the middle. You know, you did some things that were judgmental and distrusting. And there she referenced the BSN thing. And that's when Morgan goes through her whole thing showing on the phone. Whoop-de-woo. Whatever. He says, you know, I've been accepting 100% of the damage that I've done. I've apologized. And, like, you weren't believing it. And Morgan said the same thing Stacia told her. You know, it's hard for me to believe it. You never came on your own accord to apologize. Every time it's been prompted, I haven't gotten that remorseful apology. It's been very disconnected and not heartfelt. Again, think about the boy's background. He ain't gonna grovel at your feet. Honey, this ain't no groveling.
But he said it.
Thing he has apologized to you. He's even tried to show you that he's apologetic. But again, you found this hill that you wanted to climb up and die on. Yeah, and that's what you did.
But he said it too. He said, I don't come from an emotional family. We don't show emotions. This is who I am. We don't do emotion things. So she wanted him to do this emotional thing, which he wasn't that emotional. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he could have held her hand, but then she might have pulled her hand away. Maybe he might have looked in her eyes and said, you know what, Morgan, I'm sorry. All that type of things he could have did. But it goes back to what we said, Stacia said, and everybody else said. I don't think she would have received it because whatever he did wouldn't have been enough. He could have came here boo-hooing, crying, spitting, and slobbering, and it still wouldn't have been enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, and like you said, he even said that in that space. I came from my parents. They didn't really show emotion. I've never been able to externalize my emotions. Like, that's just... And the crazy part is, you want me to, in these... at this point, we're like, in what, 5-6 weeks? You want me to completely rearrange my personality and my upbringing. But you ain't trying to... You're not trying to do nothing to yours. Like, you expect me to do a complete... And I ain't going to say 360 because you do 360, you back in the same place. You want me to do a 180. Mm-hmm. But you ain't turning at all.
No, not at all.
And nobody has called... Please, Kevin Frazier, please, 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 please. When we get to the reunion, somebody call her out on her stuff. Y'all stop beating poor little Ben up. Especially when you know that's what he's used to. I'm getting beat. That's the part. You talking about Morgan. Everybody. His problem is I never felt like I've been good enough. Mm-hmm. I can't do anything right. And everybody keeps telling him basically, you didn't do it right.
Yeah.
How's that helping him?
Not at all. Not at all. He needs... They need to do a little bit better with Ben.
Yeah. You know, Dr. Pepper's like, you know, do you feel like you could be friends or whatever that, or, you know, was there anything good that came out of it? Morgan's like, yeah, we had a good time together and we had a good friendship at one point, but it's just not reconstructible on my end. I need that trust, and I don't feel like I could be friends with him. I don't have the need to be friends. Ben says later, that's fine. She don't have to be friends with me. I hope she gets to the point where she can forgive, because if she don't, again, that's another brick she's added to her wall. Mm-hmm. And she's going to have to deal with that and live with that. And if she don't learn how to forgive in her heart, she going to be stuck with it.
She will be stuck with it.
It is what it is. Dr. Pepper says, sounds like this is your decision day. Morgan said, yep, feel like marriage is over, wasn't meant to be. You did not give it a try, honey. You didn't. And so, as a result, I think Ben really wanted to be like, I want to try, but he was like, you can't try by yourself. He realized that I can't try by myself. This is a lost cause. So, I want to be divorced.
Yeah, when he looked at her and he looked up in her face, he was like, you know what? Nah. Nope, I want to be divorced too. I can't do it. I was surprised, not surprised, kind of surprised Dr. Pepper asked. I guess she saw the writing on the wall, or they made a mention, and she's like, you know what? It's 2 weeks. Let's put these people out of their misery. And put this relationship out of misery. What I did like about this, though, is that even they're getting divorced, we won't see them hanging around. We saw them for the last time.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't want them to hang around like Alyssa or
I would
Chris
like Ben to hang around, though. Like, just like...
Chris did?
No. Oh, Chris.
Yeah, with Mark. He came to Mark stuff and helped Mark out.
I would like to see that. With, yeah, because Ben's cool with everybody. Even Krysten said on the after party, she said, like, I just love Ben. Ben's sweet, like... But
I think Morgan's cool with everybody. Just they can't see saying eye to eye in a relationship, though.
I mean, they're cool with everybody, but I'm saying she just, to me, is just not she's not a cool person. Like, he's sweet and, you know, just, Lord, poor Ben. But anyway, decision day, they're done. They came to the little outing afterwards. They shared with everybody. Yeah, this is it. We're getting a divorce. Don't want to be friends with him. It's cool. Didn't work out.
And Ben was like, I wouldn't mind being friends, but she don't want to be. That's it. We don't have to be in each other's space. San Diego's kind of basic. San Diego's big enough that we don't.
And Ben even said, for me, this might be even the point where I need to really start fresh and move from San Diego.
Yeah, and she done really hurt, bro. He ready to move it. He better pick up and leave.
But I'm trying to think. His family didn't live there, did they?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't think so.
I need to remember. I feel like his family didn't live there, so because when they did the home visits, they didn't go to a house for him. A family house. Yeah. So, but anyway, next, where do you want to go next?
Let's go to Stacia and Nate.
Okay, we'll go to Stacia and Nate. So they met with Pastor Cal. Yeah. Coming in, they always so cool with Pastor Cal. Stacia had on her pink, Pastor Cal had on his pink towel. We matching,
Blue suit with pink pinstripes in the pink tie, looking nice and smooth. I like Pastor Cal.
I do too.
Pastor Cal's alright, man. Listen to it. And it's not a plug, but his book, Marriage Ain't for Punks, is pretty good. Yeah. Check it out.
But Pastor Cal says, been keeping abreast of what's going on with y'all. Excuse the pun. What's going on with y'all? It's a lot. Been a little bit embarrassed with your little sex toy stuff, the sex stuff, and they was like, "What? You ain't a freak, Pastor Cal?" He was like, "As if I would tell you that."
Right. If I would tell you guys that, don't let the pastor fool you.
I'm not getting ready to. You don't need to know if I'm a freak or not. Just like, as a parishioner, I do not want to know if my pastor is a freak. Be a freak, but I don't want to know.
Why not?
Ew. Because, no.
If you see your pastor and your first lady having a healthy relationship.
No, healthy.
Healthy sexual relationship.
Still, healthy sexual relationship. And freaky, like, I don't, all I can think of is next Friday, when the daddy came out, they got whips and chains and the ball is about. No, I don't want to know y'all be doing that. I do want to know that y'all are healthy all the way around, but I know. Because then I can't, no. So, Pastor Cal said, I would not, you would not have me tell on myself. No. So, they want to see where they are, where they are with the love decision. Haven't said any words. And Stacia was like, I made the commitment part, and the feeling part, and I love him, and he hasn't said it back.
But he says,
I greatly admire her. I admire her.
I love her. I like her qualities that she has, and she's very. I'm happy to be married to her. I'm happy to be involved with her. He just said everything except for, I love you. And
so Pastor Cal was like, well, have you got to the point where you felt like you were going to tell her and you stopped yourself? And Nate was like, yeah, I did. Mm-hmm. I did, and that it basically comes from, if I put it out there that I love her, I'm afraid of being hurt. If I put out there that I love her and then something happens, it's like, But guess, you know what? Sometimes when you love somebody, things will happen. But you got to put yourself out there. You can't not put it out there for fear of being hurt. There's a chance in anything that it won't work out. Whatever, not just a relationship, but you got to put yourself out there. You got to go for it. And then if it doesn't work out, you don't have regrets that you love that person, because in that space you did.
Yeah, and Pastor Cal said in his book, I just listened to this chapter the other day, you can love someone, right? And still have love for them, but disagree with them, right? We equate love to always agreeing. I don't always have to agree with you to love you. We can love you. I can love you, we love each other, and don't agree with everything you say. So in this society, or in this relationship, or in relationship in general, people say, oh, because I love you, we have to agree with everything. Or we have to do all. That's not necessarily the case. We're different people from different backgrounds, different culture, different things. We're in marriage. We're not always going to agree, but does not mean we don't love. We've been married for 21 years, and we don't agree with everything. Almost 21 years. Next week, we don't always agree with everything, but does not mean I ever lost love for you. You know what I'm saying? And I guess a lot of relationships look like that. Or there's some relationships, well, if we don't agree, we don't love. That's not true. Definitely not true. But I'm going to leave the link to his book in the description. If anybody want to check it out. Nice audio book. Marriage is Not for Punks.
Yep. So then they have the conversation, have you been cheated on? Have you cheated? I know, y'all have dealt with that. But the part of that threw it off is, Pastor Cal says, and Stacia, you've been cheated on. You never cheated, have you? She was like, no, I have. And Nate's like,
this is where I feel like, Nate, get it together, bro. And Pastor Cal brought it up.
Because let me add, because she said it was 10 plus years ago.
Yeah, like, dog, if somebody cheated 10 years ago, and...
Cheated, not cheater, not serial cheater.
She cheated before 10 years ago. Doesn't mean that she's a cheater now.
Right.
Right? It doesn't mean that she's going to go cheat on you tomorrow or next week or anything like that. It's something that happened. She said it. That was in my past. It's not who I am now. Mm-hmm. But for you to still harp on that, to be like, oh, yeah. If my wife told me I cheated on somebody years ago, all right, no problem, cool. It is what it is. That was years ago. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that person is going to do it now. Now, if she said, you know what, I cheated in my last relationship, then you might want to be a little leery. But it's been 10 years ago. And how old is Stacia? She's 30...
What did he say? 37.
37. So
she was like 27.
When she was 27 years old? Come on.
Well, and she said 10 plus. So
10
in
plus.
her 20s.
In her 20s. And Nate looked at her like he never cheated. I'm just saying. You know what? Well, I'm going to tell you why Nate probably never cheated. Because it never defined a relationship that it was a relationship and he had messed with somebody else. But again.
Right. Because that goes to the conversation that she had with his friends.
Right.
But, so, Pastor Cal said, Nate was like, that disappoints me because, I see her as this type of standard woman, and to find out she cheated. And Pastor Cal was like, but does that tarnish what happened 10 plus years ago? Does that tarnish who she is now? Like, that makes no sense. Like,
don't blame me for what I did before I knew you.
Right. And that's what Pastor Cal said.
Yeah, don't, before I knew, if I didn't do it to you, don't hold that over my head. Because
that causes Stacia to be like, okay, so then if I share something else with you, are you going to judge me? Are you going to hold that over my head? Right. And Pastor Cal was like, well, is it any big stuff? And she was like, well, no, but still. And Pastor Cal was like, the question is, if it is some other stuff, does she need to share that with you?
Do you want to share?
Do you want her to share it?
I don't know.
Does she need to tell you everything?
Do a person need to tell you? What?
I think it depends. It depends. I don't know. Not necessarily. Definitely not if you're gonna be looking at me like, you did what?
And if you went to jail, that's something different. I mean, you
better share that.
If you got child support getting taken out,
share that.
You might want to share that.
Share that.
But if you cheated on your 9th grade girlfriend.
See, and that's what I'm saying. I just
you
be
cheated on your college sweetheart.
That's what I'm like. Okay. What were the circumstances when you said you cheated on this person? Like, was y'all engaged? What had you?
If you cussed your boyfriend out of a basketball game, I mean, I don't care. Whatever the case may be, that stuff doesn't.
Yeah. But we see Nate go out with Stasia's friends, Aja and Tamika. He wants their input. You know, everything's been going good, but they have had their challenges. He brought up the fact that she mentioned that she had cheated, and then he did judge her for it. Mm-hmm. And he says, I only know her as a 37-year-old Stacia, you know, but that's not her base. Like I don't know all of her dynamically, you know, to put it in perspective. And, you know, I do see where she's experienced some hurt, and I know she's getting better with that, and she's getting better with trusting me and learning how to communicate. And he said he enjoys the process, everything, them growing organically. And for her, she's like, come on, get it together. I want to be, you know. And, you know, her friends were like, Tamika says, that is how she is, yeah, but give yourself an opportunity to really be, you know, curious about her. Not just this part, but, you know, all of her, and take some time to get to know her, and, you know, and also know her in where she wants you to be. Like, okay, where's that? How's that? What is, you know, get into that too. I just said, you know, you obviously you tell that's some of her love language, you know, to see you at y'all at the same level or be at a level, and I know y'all moving at a hyper speed level because of the process, but see where she is. That's to see that we're both coming up together. That's like, you know.
But you got to meet at a point, and then you got to rise together. I mean, that's what she wants them to do. When you get in this relationship, when they get in their relationship, that she's at one point, he's at another point, but we got to start over and realize, okay, we're gonna rise in our relationship. We're gonna go together. All right, not in our personal lives. Our personal lives may be at different levels, but in our relationship together, we're gonna rise to this level together. We're gonna work on our relationship to go higher.
Yeah. They asked Nate had they said the L word yet, and he was like, well, she has, but I haven't. You know, I feel like it hasn't. It's growing, but I'm not there where I want to say I love you. And her friends in their vignette was like, you know, if he doesn't say it, it's going to hurt her, and you know, she might shut down. So I hope he can get there, because
it's gonna be a big issue, major issue, if he doesn't say it, because she's putting herself out there, and we said it on the previous videos. She put herself out there from the last name to the moving him into the house to everything. She's trying to make him comfortable, but she also wants to be able to control the situation. And I think it still goes back to a control thing. I said it. Why don't you say it? I did it. Why don't you do it? So that's where their riff is at.
Yeah. So then we see Stacia meet with Nate's friends Teddy and George, and they're like, "How you doing?" She says, "I think we're doing well." She shares the conversation that they had with Pastor Cal about love and how he stopped himself from saying, you know, he loves me. And his friend George says, look, I've known him for a long time, 15 plus years. And I've only heard him say the L word to his family members. Mm-hmm. And maybe not even all the time. I ain't never seen him in love before. No one has gotten him to the point where you have him right now. And Stacia was like, wait, you 30-something, ain't never been in love, ain't never told nobody you love them. You ain't been in a serious enough relationship to say I love you. That's red flag-ish.
It's not really red flag-ish, but it's
to her.
To her, but if she realized where his family is from and what he's learned from his dad and from what his mom did, you can understand that. He's getting help for this now, so the therapy's helping him out. He doesn't want to, as he dealt with Pastor Cal, he doesn't want to tell somebody to love him and break their heart, because look what his mom did to his dad again. It's all those things that come into play when you're dealing with somebody like Nate, who's been through hurt, who's been through trauma, who's been abandoned, all right, and has somebody out of their life. He doesn't want to abandon anyone else. He doesn't want to tell somebody I love you, and then don't live up to the word I love you.
His friend says, you know, it's not natural for him to express those deeper emotions. He needs time. And she says, I'm trying to be patient, but like, I don't want to be in a loveless marriage. Like, I don't want to love him and him not love me back. And at that point, she'll have to just take it like, which they talked about. Look at his actions. Even if he doesn't say it with his mouth, he's saying it with his actions.
Yes.
The care and concern he gives you, the attention that he gives you. So she's going to have to understand, even though, you know, for her, the love language is some words of affirmation I want to hear you say, but understand that might be hard for him. She's going to have to work on that. She says, they asked, you know, about putting tools into place. You know, people, they're giving you the tools to help work this relationship out. You're not using it, whatever. And his friend was like, wait, so he has tools, but he's not using it? Stacia was like, no. And they were like, well, Nate is the type of person that if you give him the tools to build a house and the way to do it, he's gonna find another way to do it.
But he's gonna build a house, basically.
But he's gonna build the house. But he's always been the type to do it on his own, do it his way.
His way, he marches to his own beat. And I think that what makes it difficult for her, because she has a certain way that she wants things to be done. And when he does it different from her, it's like she doesn't trust him that it's gonna work out. She doesn't have that faith in him a little bit. That it's going to be okay, and she needs that faith in him. He needs her to have faith in him to know that's going to work out, because he always bets on Nate. He believes Nate is going to be successful, but Stacia needs to bet on Nate to know that Nate's going to be successful.
Her thing is that, okay, so it's fine for you not to use the tools, but if it was me and I wasn't putting the tools into place, how would that work? And
you know, you have to look at it again. You're different people, and you can't hold. And this is hard, and then you're learning. I'm still learning. You really can't hold your spouse accountable for the way that you would do things and the way that you handle things, because the way that you handle it and the way that you do it may not be your spouse. Doesn't mean it's wrong. And so you can't be pointing that out all the time.
Let's save Krysten and Mitch for last. We're on to Alexis and Justin.
Yep.
Justin meets with Alexis's friend Will.
Yep.
He wants to get his perspective. Because he knows that her and Will are real, you know, close and cool or whatever. Will says, how's it been going? And it's funny how time changes. First it was, didn't think it would be this easy or whatever, and now Justin says marriage is a beast. It's hard, it's uncomfortable, but he's trying to do it. He talks about the dog incident and how that really affected him, because he was like, you know, I've had my dog, but it was a choice of, do I keep my dog or do I keep my wife? And I really want her to feel safe. So that's the way I went with it. And Will
by
was...
the way, you know Newton got attacked, right? Newton got attacked.
Okay. Will says she needs to see that from you, that you're prioritizing her. And, you know, he says, what on that note, he needs to see that too. In other ways, he needs to see that he's a priority too.
You know, I'm about to say Pastor Franklin. He is Pastor. But Devon Franklin talks about that a little bit later when they meet up with him. So,
he talks about how he does get upset, and you know, he makes a point to say, "I don't want to curse at her." And you know, we're a lot of times we're saying the same things, but getting frustrated because we're communicating it differently. And Will says, you know, it's the fear and pressure is making it go from bad to worse. So, you know, reel that fear in, you know. Will says, I see that you're a gentleman, you're passionate, and you're funny. Those all type of things that Lex is looking for in a man. It's just that the fear is getting in the way with y'all. And so you got to find some way to calm that fear. And Justin says, you know, I'm afraid that she'll just quit before... You know, because of what they're going through. He says, I've had somebody quit on me before. And I'm scared of that.
He sees the characteristics. He ain't got to be fooled. He sees.
She says she's a runner.
She says she's running, and he sees the characteristics. He sees all the things, and he's like, you know what, red flag. This chick may be gone.
So they meet up. Their expert is the guest expert, Devon Franklin.
If you don't know, we used to be married to Megan Good.
but he been a pastor and a religious figure and motivational influence. Before being married to Megan Good did not make him.
Right. Yeah, he was all this before.
Add that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was that before her. But unfortunately, sometimes you end up being Megan Good's husband.
Or, yeah.
Just because she's an actress.
And sometimes you can give good advice, but don't take your own advice. I don't know.
He says that the experts will give me a rundown what's going on with y'all. I was like, let me come in here and help my brother and my sister out. Yeah. So let's talk about the club thing. So
before we go there, and I know Alexis was a little bit different in this episode until we got to one part. Now maybe she's putting on a front, and I know some of y'all out there say I'm an Alexis apologist, but I can see the different.
She only acted like that because it was Devon Franklin, because it was somebody like I be seeing. I think she was starstruck.
Because if you
I think that's what it was. She was like, oh,
if you read their body language and her body language when they were sitting on the couch, she was really all up on Justin, really holding his hand,
because
real close.
She was
really like this. Today's a good day in our relationship.
She was starstruck and she was putting on for him.
Okay, I'm just pointing out what I saw.
I saw it too.
And her relationship, they was really holding hands. She was really close. She was booed up with him. She was real close.
Because she felt like, I really want to listen to him. He's saying something. I really want it. Okay, what's he saying? I'm going to try this. Yeah. She was starstruck and she was putting on for Devon Franklin.
Got it.
Okay?
Her body language was different. That's all I'm saying.
It definitely was. I'm not saying it wasn't. It was. But anyway, let's talk about the club. Okay, what's the feeling that you get when you go to the club? I feel loose. I have freedom, And so, how free do you feel in your marriage? I don't. I feel smothered. And Justin, how does that make you feel? Well, that hurts, because I don't want to be that guy, but you're telling me I'm that guy, that I'm smothering her. I just want to be around her. And Devon, it's Devon. Devon, I feel like it's Devon, though. Anyway, Pastor Franklin, and not Aretha's daddy. Pastor Franklin says, okay, what can y'all do in marriage that could represent that freedom? Because the club, it's not the club, it's the freedom that you feel, And she was like, doing it all together. What's it? He was like, she said, traveling, hiking, doing extreme sports. Paul. Pastor Frank was like, do you like doing those things, Justin? He was like,
yes.
Yeah. So, okay. So, why don't you have your freedom in those activities together? That would be the freedom that you want in your marriage, which I still don't. I think that's bullcrap that she said. No. You want freedom from him. Let's be real. Stop playing.
She said that she wants to be free in her marriage, to be able to have fun and to excitement. And the fun and excitement is doing those things along with the club and her friends. But anyway.
Because that's the part that we've got. No, she likes hanging out with her friends. We can have the freedom and the fun all we want to, but her thing is she want to hang out with her friends and be free and fun with them. Message. You left it out. Stop playing. Yeah. That's what it is. But anyway, he said he don't have no problem. Justin doesn't have a problem with her freedom. But the fact of the matter is that going to the club and hanging out with your friends too much, I'm afraid I'm going to lose you. Because it's too much out there, not even guy-wise. It's too much out there for you to feel like, what I need him for? I can have fun by myself. I can do this by myself. So, in that, she was like, oh, I'm proud of you. You finally said it. He said it before. He just didn't say it like that. He has absolutely said that before. But
hold on. See, that's what he said. But he always says she doesn't understand him. And so that goes with the understanding part, because there's sometimes women don't, when he articulates or when he says things, she's not listening to what he says because she's so frustrated at what's going on. And so what happens is, she made up in her mind she wanted him to say it a certain way. And he didn't say it that way. And he says that. He said that before. And he doesn't say it that way. And now he was questioning himself. So now he says it the way that she can understand. Aha, I got it.
But the bad part is she wants him to be an interpreter of what's underneath what she's saying and doing, But then she don't want to catch context clues for him.
But
she wanted him to catch the context clue when they was at the table that I don't want to talk. Understand that it's probably something I don't want to say. But you can't catch the context clue that obviously he don't want you going. He said, because you're leaving me alone.
No, what he said was, he said, today I have fear that she's going to find somebody else. Or somebody else going to pique the interest.
Yeah, and he didn't say somebody. He just said of losing her. He didn't even say to somebody.
Right.
Like to a guy.
Or a girl. But he was talking about losing her.
Mm-hmm.
And so what it was is that he doesn't want to lose her. And so and Pastor Franklin was like, well, you could lose her. He named a whole bunch of different places, that church and all these other places. You could lose her.
It could be the club now. Next time it be the gym.
Or to be the church, or be whatever case may be. It never really was about the club. And I said that last week, pat on the back. But it was about him losing her.
But it was about the club because Pastor Franklin put it in perspective. Okay. It is about the club because, again, that's the place that's more likely there's going to be somebody there to pique her interest or to be interested in her. Now, in the gym, it could be somebody, but it's a different environment. You know, we really have to be on the same machine over and over again.
You can bump each other.
But that's what I'm saying. But in the club, like, that's what people have gone to the club for. So that's what
in church you be the same Bible study class,
right? But again, that's a process, and I'm not necessarily coming to the gym to meet nobody. I'm more than 9 times out of 10, you definitely going to the club to meet somebody. So it wasn't
people that go to church to meet somebody.
But I'm saying, so it was about the club. But what Pastor Frank says, eventually, if you get so bent on this, I don't want to lose her. Every place will be a threat. The grocery store will be a threat. But first and foremost, it was the club. Mm-hmm. It was the club, because in this club, that's what we do in this club. Finding love and sexual energy and all that. So, yeah. But you can pat yourself in the back, though, but it was about the club.
All right. Touche.
It don't become about those other places until she says, I went to the grocery store today. Remember that guy I told you, blah, blah, blah?
I told you, it was...
And remember that guy? I saw that guy again. That's when it becomes about the grocery store.
But again, that's his own insecurities.
Right? And that's what he said. You know, I didn't think I was that controlling. Pastor Franklin put in perspective. That's kind of controlling. You can't control who, what, when, where, and how she speaks and who speaks to her. You can't do that. And Justin was like, ugh. I didn't think about it like that. You're right, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay for somebody to say, well, that's a whole different podcast. Somebody hit on your wife and she says no. You get happy because, you know what? You got something somebody else wants.
Yeah,
that's the way I look at it. I don't know about y'all. I look at it. When somebody hits on my wife, I'm like, you know what? It's fine. It's cool. I'm not mad. I ain't trying to fight dude or nothing like that. It's okay.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing because I'm going to say me. I don't think about it like that. I do not think about it like that. Somebody hit on my husband. I'm like, what you want to do, chick? What you want to do? Because anyway, nope. That's another time. We ain't got time for that.
We ain't got time for that.
Okay,
another podcast,
Pastor Franklin says I got another concern. They was like, it's about sex, ain't it? You got to say something about the sex. About the segs. And he was like, yeah, like, what's the problem? She was like, I dominate on my job all day. I'm in charge. I'm a boss chick. So when I come home, I want to be submissive. I want somebody to dominate me. Like, I did not like the like, what you want him to do? Tie you up?
No, he want to smack it up. She wants him to be like, yo, let's go have sex. Let's go have sex. To be engaged, to take control of sex, to do the things that she likes, to be able to she wants to be vulnerable in that space and not have to tell him anything, and he just go ahead and just dominate and take over in the whole sex aspect. And that's not him. That's not his characteristic. That's not what he's gonna do. She wants a roughneck. MC Light said, "What? I want a roughneck, right?" So she wants a roughneck. She wants a dude to come in and handle business.
And later on, he says, for him, that's not the kind of person he is. Like he wants to reciprocate things. Okay, like so. If I reach out and like, you know, I try to kiss you, like, give it back to me. Don't let me this time let me this time you come to kiss me. You know, he don't want to be the initiator all the time. He want her to, he's used to that, like, I might do it sometimes, you might do it sometimes. She like, come take me.
Come take me.
Every time.
And he doesn't feel confident enough that he can do that.
And later on
Which goes back to why he wasn't able to rise to the occasion when they did try to have sex, because he wasn't confident in his ability to please her the way that she wanted to be pleased.
Because he said that later on when the couples get together, you know, Pastor Franklin's like, why don't you help her brother out? She said, it's funny you would say that. Like, we just had this conversation. He was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to smack it up, flip it, rub it down. I don't know how to take it. I don't know how to take it. I need you to help me take it.
But again, no. But it goes back to our conversation on the panel discussion when we had with the August love story that we was talking about. When you're in this relationship and when you're on Married at First Sight, y'all don't know each other sexually, and what happened and what helped, what worked with your last person you were sexually intimate with may not be what this person can do or capable of doing. So you're going to have to share with them or either help them get you to that point where you feel comfortable with them sexually so they're meeting your sexual needs.
Yeah, and I'm glad she got that. In the vignette, she was like, I know that's how you are, but you got to be different with me. We're strangers or whatever. But also, Alexis, you got to understand that that's not his norm.
That's not his norm.
So y'all going to have to help each other out. And that's what she agreed to do. Her thing in her vignette, she's like, to me, it's important. I know it's important to consummate the marriage before decision day, you know, and so she wants to get there, you know, to kind of solidify where they are. The Pastor Franklin's advice was like, you know, what you see in the mirror is a reflection of what's there. You don't fix the mirror, fix what you see in the mirror. So y'all gonna have to do some work when it comes to that. And so that's it with Alexis and Justin, because we actually touched on what happened with them, with the couples thing. They talked about the sex thing.
Yeah.
All right, Mitch and Krysten, and that's going to segue us right into the couples being together. Mitch and Krysten, Mitch meets up with, Krysten meets up with Mitch's sister-in-law, Stephanie.
Yes, not the same Stephanie from earlier, but...
No. And so they were like, you know, we've had an opportunity to be in settings with other people together. This is our first one-on-one. We can have girl talk. Like, I need some insight. What's going on with them? You know.
She ain't like Mitch neither.
Krysten says, you know, I think we're in the best spot we have been right now. You know, we have struggled. I've struggled with his contraryisms. Mm-hmm. Like, he's so contrary. And Stephanie shared that, you know, with Mitch and I, we're both kind of stand your ground people, you know, firm, you know, assertive. And that made us bump heads, and we were at odds before because we're both strong-willed. And, you know, I think he's learned over the years that he can't make people feel bad about not being where he is with the environmentalists and all his ideals and everything. And, you know, basically she told her, you know, just stand your ground and be who you are and what you expect to see. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that'll work. And be clear. Don't bend. You can't bend on everything.
Did she say his brother was like that too?
No.
Because she was talking about we use pouches and bags. I'm sorry, but if my sister-in-law if my sister-in-law was like that, you don't run this house. I'm gonna bring plastic bags around you. We might have a Starbucks cup. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna control my environment because of your environmental views, mm-hmm. which are different from other views, right? So I mean, nah, because it's to me it's controlling.
It is, which they get into. Krysten and Mitch meet with Dr. Pepper. Krysten says, you know, I'm glad we're here talking to you. There's a few things I want to bring up. Like, okay, so your environmentalism stuff, I get it. It's a bit much. But I'm trying to work with it.
I like her because she's able to articulate herself even in the midst of... I think she does it off camera, mm-hmm. but especially when she's with the experts or within the group, she articulates herself very well and gets to the point where... And she breaks it down to the point where he really have to understand it. Like, you can't not understand what she's saying.
Yeah. And she says, you know, but I want us both to be comfortable. You know, it can't just be your way or the highway. And she talks about, you know, I like my iced lattes, and sometimes I don't get it in a reusable cup. And he was like, I understand that, and I hope you can get there though. So I'm not gonna lose it because you get your iced latte in a throwaway plastic cup. She talks about how they had the unresolved issues. Still, she feels like, I thought so that's still a point of contention for her. I thought they kind of talked through that, but she still says the flipping house thing
is an issue.
Is an issue. You know, what he said is a sensitive. He says it's a sensitive topic for him because flipping houses kind of intersects with him being an environmentalist. It intersects with social issues and basically gentrification and all like that, and sustainability, and it's a concern about you building these houses and you're competing with affordable housing for the low income people, really. And Dr. Pepper's like, bruh, you cannot put a whole societal issue on her shoulders.
On her shoulders.
She don't have no control over that. And you should not put her in that box.
She flipping her house. She flipping her house in her neighborhood. If the person in her house, in the house that she flipped, can't afford it, guess what? They can't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
And truth be told, if she would flip a house, you can make a house affordable. You can make a house into a place where people are affordable.
Absolutely. And that's what she said she wanted to do. She wanted to get these houses, and they had standard furniture that goes in there, setups and everything, where it's not like super extravagant. You know, basically what she said was, I'm gonna flip a house, but I'm not gonna flip it to the high end, put everything marble in there, and
flip it to where people can live in there and be sustainable.
He said he's working on he has a problem with that, not putting the big picture, the issues on people's shoulders. He said, I'm working on that. But there's always a dark side to everything that you do, and as individuals, and it's not always the individual responsibility, but there is a dark side. And her question was, you know, Dr. Peppers, can you handle that? You know, his reminding you of the dark side. And Krysten was like, you know what, that's a good segue into the next issue. Like, I don't know if I can handle that. That he's always going to, well, that's nice, but, she was like, I don't know if I can handle that. She says, you know, I value synergy and optimism and looking on the bright side, you know, in friendships and everything. And I'm looking for your help on how do I deal with that. She says, Dr. Pepper's basically like, just look at it at how far you've come. And it could continue to improve. Just look for it to improve for both their side or whatever. And, you know, his concern is that she could not want to put up with me.
Yeah. And
find somebody else. And Dr. Pepper put it in perspective is like, she could, but she's on Married at First Sight.
Yeah, like
she's tried it. It ain't nobody knocking down the door like that.
Well, ain't nobody knocking down the door like that anyway to get with Mitch.
I mean, no, but she's saying with her, that's your concern. She was like, it ain't happened yet.
Right, she ain't bail on you. She ain't leave on you. She ain't go back to her own apartment and take her and the dog. I can't remember the dog name. And
Luna.
Yeah, she didn't take her and Luna and go out and leave and bounce. You know, so.
Mitch says he has questions about her standards for a decision day because her thing was, you know, if I don't get I love you or be in a love space. And so he was like, are you still in that place? Because I feel like if we're getting there, if we're growing, that I could say a yes on decision day knowing that we can do some more work. Yeah. And she was like, I actually have changed on that. You know, I can deal with, as long as I know we're getting to that point, you know, we're growing to that, I can do that.
I can do that.
And so she said that day had been helpful for her, you know, to see their progress and to talk to Dr. Pepper. And she talks to him later. You know, she was very impressed with how he problem solved himself when it comes to the flipping housings and how I can deal with that better. And
I think Mitch meant it. He says all the right things and he sees it, but doing and saying are two different things.
She says that later too. But just when they sitting down eating, he had fixed like some noodles or whatever. He's sitting there slurping.
Just slurping noodles. That irritated me.
And she was like, have I not paid attention to you eating? Do you do this all the time? And he was like, no. She was like, so I'm going to chalk it up to he was just hungry. But
and he was slurping with his
irritating
fingers. He was slurping with his hands. The food went from his hands to the utensil, back to his hands.
it's very distracting when we're trying to have a serious conversation, and I get it. I know to her it almost seems like you being playful, like you don't really want to have this conversation.
It was bad. I know he's mic'd up, but that slurping is like crazy.
Yeah. They talk about the environmental thing and using paper towels. He was like, I don't usually use paper towels. I use washable cloths. And she was like, I don't have a problem with that, you know. But my thing is, I don't want to be stuck having to wash your cloth. Because you obviously, Mitch, we know you don't clean up after yourself. Your stove was nasty.
How often do you wash your cloth when you wipe your hands on it every day? Or other cloth?
You're supposed to wash it frequently. If that's the only thing you're using, you're supposed to wash it frequently.
Yeah.
Like every few days.
Every night you might want to throw that bad boy. Depends on what you wipe your hands.
Yeah,
in this day and age, all the germs and I mean.
But definitely, I mean, you ain't gonna be.
I know you got multiple.
You can't
cloths.
wash no clothes every freaking day.
But you have multiple cloths, and I understand. You get. You know what you can get. Remember, I used to work in the laundry field. The things that you see in the mechanic shop with the cloth.
Yeah.
The cloth rolls. You can use those. Put one of those up in the house. Instead of paper towels, you got the cloth reusable rolls.
Excuse me. He says, you know, they've been getting along, whatever, but I'm leaving space for things that may not have come up. You know, that's one thing that he says in his vignette. There's one thing that he's thought about that he hasn't come up with to how to talk to her, and that's that he likes the way she looks more naturally. And then
he likes plain Jane.
Goes to heck because then he video calls later with her sister. And, you know, talking about, you know, how they've been going. And Rachel says, you know, I know your expectations going into marriage weren't initially met as far as attraction. How are you handling that? And he was like, that was more about me putting my fears into it. I had like a fight or flight thing, you know, and... You know, unconsciously, you know, I was really expecting to get a hippie surfer girl come marry me. That's what I was looking for. And once I got over myself, you know, I looked at accepting her as she is, and, you know, that she could be better than what I expected. I don't get myself stuck in this is what I expected to see. And Rachel was like, you know, Krysten's really open-minded though, but she's not super hippie. But she is open-minded to accept and go with the environment and stuff. But she expects she deserves someone to be all in with her. Mm-hmm. And Mitch was like, speaking of which.
I don't know what was he thinking here, right? You're speaking to the girl's sister. Knowing
slash best friend.
Knowing if you tell her that she's going to tell Krysten. And how do you think she's going to feel? Because you already had this issue. You already went around this bush. If I'm going to say this, I'm going to say this in front of an expert, not in front of her sister.
Well, he did it. He says, you know, hey, how can I talk to her about doing her hair different and wearing a little less makeup because that's the way I like it.
Basically, here, translation. How can I tell her to dumb herself down and make her look plain? Because next what it is.
Not plain, but she's beautiful in her natural state. She don't need the enhancement.
But next it is you're going to tell her, I don't want you to wear that. I want you to wear these. Don't wear plastic shoes, right? Don't wear shoes with plastic on it. She mentioned on After Party that he even got to the point where he started talking about what she uses during her menstrual cycle. That he kind of implied that she should use cups instead of the things that she uses now. Mitch, you're doing too much. You're doing too much, Mitch.
Rachel suggests to Mitch, like, I don't think that's necessary. You know, makeup is not really about men so much as it is about making myself look better to me and feel better. And I would tread lightly. Basically, what she said, I would tread lightly when it comes to that, because that'll make her feel like you're not accepting of her. And I told you she deserves somebody that's all in. So that might fuel the insecurity she already has. Because listen to how you sound.
Yeah, dog. You talking foolish. Talking foolish.
And I've already suggested to Krysten that while you're trying to figure out, is this the woman I need? That Krysten needs to figure out, is he the person I want? That's what we talked about. So while you try to make her into what you want her to be, she's like, well, maybe I don't want this person that can't accept me for me. And so we get to the couples thing, and of course they run through, hey, did you meet with the experts? What expert did you meet with? Binh and Morgan come. Binh says, I'm gonna go. Me and Morgan ain't on speaking terms, but this is the last time that, you know, I could be with the people I've made friends with. And of course we said Binh and Morgan shared that they're not together anymore.
Yeah.
We see Krysten had a conversation with Morgan about the
Makeup
what
situation.
Mitch said to her sister, and I'm gonna bring it up to him because I don't have to put up with that.
Yeah, but it's not the time. I'm gonna let the
It's inconsiderate. I'm gonna do that later.
Morgan said, "You right, girl. Go ahead and get it." She signified the whole time. Mm-hmm. She signified the whole situation.
Mm-hmm. And so with Mitch and Krysten, she talks about how, you know, we met with Dr. Pepper, and Mitch says, I feel like she gets us, and it seemed like what was holding us back, you know, is not there. You know, we kind of reconciled it. And Alexis.
And it's another one. Alexis is in everybody's business. Alexa the gossiper.
I couldn't figure out if Krysten set this up for her to bring it up or Alexis, because if that's the way she wanted to do it, that's fine. If Krysten wanted to say, hey, why don't one of y'all bring it up, and then I'll say it because I don't feel comfortable bringing it up myself.
No, none of that. It's none of that.
Alexis just said that herself, which I tend to believe she just said it herself, because when she brought it up, Lindy was like, ugh.
And Krysten was like, ooh. But while we there, let's go here. Alexis.
Stacia was like, but Lindy's face was really like, why did you just say that?
Right.
Why did you do that? She did not. We was talking about that. Why did you do that? And so
Alexis
was like, you know, I'm glad you got past, you know, you not being comfortable with her dressing up and the makeup, and that you didn't let that get in the way of your marriage. And Krysten was like, okay, so do you feel like you over that stuff? Because I want to know. And
he looked like, huh? What?
Because, you know, he was like, did I say that? She was like, yeah.
See, this is what
Justin says, yeah, you did. And Lindy was like, you said, her and Krysten said at the same time, you said you wanted somebody more earthy. You did.
And then somebody said, well, I ain't here.
Miguel said that. Miguel said, I haven't personally heard that. Justin said, I did.
Yeah.
I heard him say it.
They stayed out of it, so again.
But Lindy's face the whole time was like, eek. This is not the way this was supposed to go.
This is not the way. He didn't forget. I'm going to put it that way. Because he recant later. Yeah, I might have said that. He didn't forget.
Krysten says, you know, I just want to be clear that you never said that. He was like, no, I ain't say it. But then later he said, well, maybe I did say that. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so while they're in this conversation, the experts come in. And it's like, hey.
We've been listening the whole time.
What? Yeah. You know, Morgan asked the question, where are you with her now? I want her to mind her business. Shut up. I'm glad we ain't gonna see her no more. Don't you say nothing. Mitch was like, I don't know where we are. You know, we talked a little bit about decision day with Dr. Pepper. And one thing that was brought up is, you know, what does decision day mean for you? Are we on the same page? And Miguel was like, you know, I'm sorry to pry, but, you know, y'all haven't talked about that. And Chris was like, yeah, but, you know, we're kind of undecided. And, you know, I wondered if I could be Mitch's wife. I could be who he wants. And more recently, it's, you know, it's like, is what I want part of me wonders if I'm okay with someone who's unsure about me. You know, after 8 weeks, you know, this might be a bigger thing than they can surmount.
Right.
In the last 2-3 weeks. And like I said, Lindy's like, I've been hearing tidbits from both of y'all, and you know, I can't walk in your shoes, but I want to understand what's going on. And like I said, that's when the experts come in. You know, we've been listening. You know, confronting the truth is hard, but you know, that's the only way to get through it. And so Mitch and Krysten, did something happen since I met you.
True, you can read the body language. They were close at one point, and she left Dr. Pepper feeling good. She left Dr. Pepper. Everything was wonderful, even up to their going to the pool party. Everything was good. But she talked to her sister the day prior
on the way
to the pool party, and now you can see their body language. They totally. She's over here and he's wide over there. They're not even close together.
But Dr. Pepper said specifically that something happened. And even though she asked because of how it went down before that, Mitch kind of feels like, oh, well, you probably already privy to the conversation. And Krysten's like, it ain't no private conversation. Nobody, I did talk to the girls. She didn't say that. But Dr. Pepper don't know that. But I talked to my sister Rachel on the way here. And it's like, I thought you was over that. Ooh. But then you go talk to my sister, my best friend, about how you can ask me to do my hair less and wear less makeup and change how I dress. And Dr. Pepper was like, from my conversation, I thought there had been a big change. What have you said different since then? And again, Mitch was like, well, obviously, you probably already know. And Nick was like, no. Yeah. She don't know.
But her next question set him up, though.
Yeah. And, it seems like, y'all been talking it out. I am more attracted to her in her natural state. And Dr. Pepper says, so in some ways, that's a very big compliment that you like her the way she is. So are you very attracted to her? And he says, I'm attracted. And Dr. Pepper's like,
and everybody was like,
that don't sound good.
Pastor Cal even like, the way we heard it was like, sound shady. Like, she better like it.
It sound like,
I'm attracted to her, but not like...
Not very.
Not like
that. Mitch says, when you put me on the spot, what you expect me to say? Dr. Pepper said, I wasn't trying to put you on the spot. Again, I thought after our conversation that you were to that point, so I figured you would answer in the affirmative. Yes, I'm very attracted to her. I didn't know you was going to say that.
She was trying to help him out by, look, I'm giving you the ball. I want you to say I'm very attracted to ease her mind. Not that it's to negate what you said to the sister, but to ease her mind that you are very attracted to her. Mm-hmm. And he couldn't do it.
And Krysten was like, look, this is very hard to hear. It's embarrassing. Like, Dr. Pepper says, I think y'all can talk through this and find a way. There's enough attraction there. And Krysten was like, I'm sorry, Dr. Pepper. No. No. I don't want to be accepting of the fact that there's enough attraction. And I don't want to be in a place where, this happens with Mitch. He says a little something and everybody thinks he's doing better and he's not. I'm not settling. Basically, she was like, I'm not settling. I'm done. I ain't doing it. He got me confused about myself. I came here confident and secure in who I am. He got me questioning myself and confused, and I'm not doing it no more. No.
He ain't talking his way out of this one, she said. He ain't not talking his way out of this.
Right. And Dr. Pepper was like, well, I'm sorry that it's that way with you. And she was like, I don't want no apology from you. I want an apology from him. Mm-hmm. And he was sitting there looking like
confused, bamboozled, don't know what's
blindsiding. Where's this coming from? And Chris was like, does anybody else feel like this is blindsiding? No. And at one point, Stacia and Nate talk to each other like, I don't think they're gonna make it. And Stacia's like, no, that's a no. And Alexis says, this not good. Maybe Mitch needs somebody else. And Justin was like, yeah, she's not the person for him. And Alexis, with her whole shady self, says, yeah, he need to find somebody with dirty feet.
No, both of them, yeah, both of them said it, yeah, at the same time. Oh yeah, he need to find somebody from Boulder, Colorado, with dirty feet.
No, Justin said to Boulder, Colorado. She said, yeah, with dirty feet. And he was like, ooh, I feel that way too, but I can't believe you just said that. Yeah. It was rough.
It was rough. I'm going to say their relationship over. I'm going to say they done. I'm going to say there's no coming back for her. Because when she said, I'm done, I took it like she's done with the relationship. She's done with all this.
That's how I took it. And I think other people took it like that too. Because Stacia was looking like, oh, snap. And Lindy looked like she wanted to bite her nails the whole time.
I had hopes for Mitch and Krysten, but right now, she's done. So that's two. I'm gonna say this. It's in my book, right?
Oh, we can do that now. We can do that now, real quick.
Not yet. In my book, the two couples done.
That's what I'm saying. We can do that now.
Oh, you want to do that now?
Obviously, Ben and Morgan done. Finito. That's a done deal. I feel like Mitch and Krysten. I feel like they ain't gonna make it.
They're not gonna make it. I don't think they're gonna make it either.
Lindy and Miguel, I think they're good to go.
I think they're good.
Stacia and Nate, I think they're good to go. Alexis and Justin is the crapshoot.
I don't know about them.
It's the crapshoot.
I don't know.
Those is our prediction.
From the preview,
decision day.
From the
who's
preview,
gonna say yes and
we
no?
see that Justin and Alexis about to have sex. He about to get him some. I told y'all that too on the preview that he would get him some. So he gonna get himself a little something.
But
So
anyway,
I knew
so
she
that's
was.
this one.
Hopefully he dominant in the bedroom. That might help her out some. You said he ain't. He might got a little something. You know, gotta build some confidence
I think
up.
he'll get aggressive. He ain't gonna dominate though, cause she just. I know what she says. She just don't seem like the kind of person that can like turn it off.
You think she's gonna be more dominant than him, or she's controlling? That she's telling him what to do? If that's the case.
No, I don't think she's telling him what to do. But I think. I just don't think she know how to turn it off.
Okay.
But
anyway, hey, make sure you hit subscribe to this channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. Again, join our membership. If you want to check out Pastor Cal's book, Marriage is Not for Punks, if you have not, please check the link in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll be continue to give you more Married at First Sight reviews. We're coming down to the end of Married at First Sight for this season. We're coming to the end, so it's a couple more weeks left. Seems like they cut some episodes out of this season.
I don't know, I'm glad, because the last season was the never-ending season.
Yeah, last season was never. I'm sure they're going to have a whole bunch of 50 million specials coming off of this one too, but nonetheless, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye.